Hey, Steady Steve, please like and subscribe. Please click on the Deck Heroes icon. Click on subscribe. 100% free. Well, apart from blood in, blood out. Anyway, just for real, this video is all about equipment, infantry equipment. This is my best infantry guy. I'm more than happy they just brought out a museum boost. It's 27th of July 2024. To add more attack to somebody who's already devastated. And I think before getting to the equipment, this is the equipment video strictly, but I think people get a bit confused about using simulators which only simulate one-on-one battles, and they confuse the benefits of an area of effect commander who's always going to have less damage than a single damage commander, because the natural conclusion is that the single damage commander is always going to be better, whereas not necessarily. But one-on-one, yeah, fair enough. Anyway, we're into this equipment video now. I'm more than happy. Basically, what I want for my guys is for them to live long enough for their active skills to keep on triggering. Okay, so what I believe is, and this is going to be an adjustment to other videos I've done, especially on the William Wallace video that I did. What I want basically is for them to be tanky enough so that we can stay in the game long enough to keep on doing attack and counter-attack, our normal attacks, and also be alive long enough to have our active skill triggering as well. Right, so that's what I'm looking for. So this one, the Golden Helm of Eternal Empire, boosts my defense by 11%, plus I've got it expertised, which gives me an extra 3.5. In terms of iconic attributes, honestly, I'm doing so well. I pat myself on the back. I am VIP 17, which means I get the equivalent of, I get one blue, no, I get 3 blue every day for free, which means the equivalent of 1 legendary every 6 days. You know what I mean? That definitely contributes to the equipment I need in order to build this up. And obviously I get free equipment from, when KVK by killing barbs and everything else like everybody else. But anyway, in terms of iconic, I'm very happy with the increased base defense. I'm happy with the health boost. I'm happy with the unit capacity. I'm happy with the damage to troops on the map, increased by 1.5%. And I can't wait to get this shattering strike. Whenever we launch a basic attack, it is a 10% chance. That's every second, basically. There's a 10% chance to increase the next skill damage by 5%. Well, it's going to be by 6.5% with the extra 1.5% bonus with a cooldown of 5 seconds. Oh my gosh. So I accept that there's a 90% chance that it won't happen, but if it's firing every second, listen, we'll take that, and that will be a considerable addition to my strength on field. Very tempting. So if you look upper top left on that little hammer, the golden hammer. Yes, in terms of shards, when I say shards, I mean, you need 30 shards, basically. I played another game that called this kind of thing a shard. So you need 30 helmet shards in order to get the full blueprint. I've got 2, so I'm a million miles away, and I'd have to have some kind of gem strategy in order for me to get there. But I actually need 1.2 mil in order to get 1.2 mil VIP points in order to get up to VIP 18, which is one of my main goals. My own dilemma is, before I carry on talking about equipment, is I know most people are not at VIP 17. You know what I mean? So I already have a relative power boost. But, VIP 18 would be awesome. And I'd have much more materials. I would get a legendary every 4 days to contribute towards this equipment effort. And many other boosts as well, like unit capacity, all that great. But anyway, I'm really happy with the Golden Helm, especially the boost to defense, giving me that tankiness, which I described a little bit earlier. Hope, cloak, even more defense, very similar to what I've just talked about. If I go into the iconic attributes, I've maximized it basically, or literally, and it's expertised. Infantry based defense, say plus 4%. It ignores the enemy attack by 1.5%. That's presumably the counter attack. So we attack them, then they counter attack against us. So that counter attack will be ignored by a 1.5%. We get a boosted unit capacity of 650 troops. Damage to rallied armies and garrisons. Well, listen, the infantry are not for rallying anybody really, so you know that's nice. That's nice, thank you, but waste of time. Until they bring out a new commander, which I'm not advocating for that new commander that came out with. When I say a new commander, new good one, not the one that came out with William Wallace. It's garbage, in my point of view. Anyway, Vengeful Strike. Whenever the wielder's troop is hit with a basic attack, there's a 10% chance to gain a 6.5% counter attack. Damage boost for 2 seconds. We'll take it. it's listen, for the resource cost to get there, I'm not really sure that it's worth it. But in terms of principles of just optimizing my best commander, then fair enough. But you know, I mean, that's that. In terms of Hope Cloak and where I got all these kind of blueprints from, I'm going to come out of this quickly and go to my trading post. It's not on this one currently, because this one currently is focused on... Oh, it is, yeah, Hope Cloak. So that's where I would have got it from. This is the best value thing you can spend money on in the game, in my point of view. I may well do another video just showing what you can get at the end of the, you know, at level 50. If you look to the bottom middle, this ends in 1 day, 11 hours. So yeah, by tomorrow I'll have an extra, it'll give me an extra 50 credits based on my activity, and yeah, I'll have enough to get all of these unclaimed items at the bottom. You notice the gems and the legendary sculptures and everything else, speed ups, VIP points, all of it incredibly useful. But at the moment we're talking about equipment, so yeah, that Hope Cloak blueprints will come from there, and that's how I had all the blueprints I needed to maximize it to level 5. And I already talked about material generation and me being VIP 17. If you're not VIP 17, then obviously, I'll do another quick aside, then you need to use your blacksmith and make sure that it's rolling with whatever materials that you need. And also in KVK, you know those events where you can sacrifice materials in order to move forwards? That has to be bone. Sometimes you can't move forward unless you sacrifice something. You will not sacrifice something valuable. Bone is the least valuable material you're going to need. Everything else, a guarantee. Bone is if you're a siege master. And I've already done a little bit of siege kind of tickling. I'm not a siege man. But if you're very early... Anyway, if you're a siege... Oh, let's not go into that. Long story short, sacrifice the bone. Even if you're dabbling with a little bit of siege, sacrifice the bone. Anyway, working from top to bottom, down the middle. Eternal Night, you'll notice a theme here. Again, infantry defense boost, another 16%. 16%. Infantry, you're not a little bit tankier anyway. So this just keeps you on field, just going to minimize your injured troops, which indirectly at times will minimize your dead troops. In terms of its expertise, in terms of iconic attributes, an additional 4 points. I was going to say 4%, it's just 4 points of something. Enemy health ignored, 1.5%. That's very useful in terms of their resilience to anything really, skill damage and normal damage, you'd think. Unit capacity, bigger armies kill smaller armies quicker. Probably because yeah, that normal attack damage basically, and having more troops there to do counter-attack damage. It's going to be based on your attack is going to be based on your number of troops and your attack stats, most likely. And your counter-attack will be based on your defense stats, number of troops, and health, most likely. Something like that. We don't know. Yeah. Yeah, attack will be based on attack stats and number of troops. Anyway, number of troops multiply. Unit capacity, that's that. Anyway, demonstrated troops on the map, whatever the formula is, we know that we will do an extra 1.5% more damage. In terms of Wily, I've also got this maximized, so whenever the troop launches a basic attack, it has a 10% chance to reduce the next skill damage it takes by 6.5% when expertised. Huge. So there's a 10% chance it will happen, 90% chance that it won't. But listen, even if you're not at this stage of being able to expertise something because you're early in the game, at some point, what you know is, assume, if they don't bring out any new equipment, and hope, oh my gosh, just hope they don't, given the investment and time it took to get to this, thinking about, now I want this piece of equipment because I want to maximize my defense stats. Why I mentioned that may not be front of mind. Let me just quickly jump out and explain why you may well have a bit of confusion. As part of that set, you might be thinking, well, if I get this one, which boosts my attack, and I get these greaves, which also boost my attack, then as part of the set, having 6 pieces, I also get this, if you look bottom left, 6-piece infantry attack boost on top of that attack. And it's just 3 stats, right? Yes, but what you'll find is that you're just going to have more deads than what you would have had. You're not going to last in battle as long as what you would have expected to have this legendary piece of equipment. I can remember the first time I got all 6 pieces, and I just found myself losing more than I had before. Because you got to remember, I've replaced this piece here. These greaves would have been my Kurak's humility. So I've replaced 10.5% health, right, which keeps you alive. I would have replaced it with this, which just boosts my attack. And again, I was just losing more often than I won. It's like, what? And that's why I relegated this piece of equipment to Luce, but I've given it to Luce because Luce's skill damage or active skill is based on Smite. Smite is based on things like attack stats, I believe, because it's based on a boost to normal damage. So that's why he had it. So number one, I didn't want to waste this legendary equipment I've got, and I know to scrap it would be at a high cost because you only get half the materials that you put in, but also potentially can boost, as say, that active damage for Luce. Anyways, let's go back to this. I just wanted to round off something which I thought was important at the time. I'm aware this is a 12-minute video. Hopefully you're finding it useful and give you kind of food for thought. 7 years experience. And again, same theme, infantry defense, base health. Looking at the iconic, base health has been boosted by 4 points. Infantry defense has an additional 1.5%. I can't wait to get that unit capacity. The 3rd point. The 4th point, not really bothered about the march speed, but you take it. And 5th one is infantry gains more. Listen, I'm probably going to leave it at the 3rd point, unit capacity. Then I'll tap out on this one. And if I got any more kind of boots typed shards, I'd put it into where is it? For me personally, for my starting position, I would put it into this Grease of Glorious Goodness, which boosts troop health by 6%, something like that. You know what I mean? I haven't expertised it. I've only had one blueprint ever, and then they changed the whole meta to include all these iconic attributes, and had to refocus my plans. But yeah, for this one, strictly going to be unit capacity in terms of iconic attributes. Then I'm going to leave it there. Next, I'm only going to talk about the equipment on this one. I'll talk about the accessories in a different video. I'm already aware that this is a long enough video, and I think the accessories video in itself is regardless of faction, whether it's infantry, archer, or something else. So that's my plan. Again, you'll notice the theme of Embraces of Eternal Empire. What does it boost? It boosts defense. So again, extra 10% more defense. In terms of iconic, more base attack. Boost my attack, infantry attack on the 2nd iconic level. When I get more blueprints, I'll be more than happy, obviously, to increase my unit capacity at level 3 and level 4. And seeing red, iconic level 5. Whenever the builder's troop takes damage, it has a 10% chance to gain, say, mine's expertise, so gain 4% march speed. All right, so I will tap out at level 4 unit capacity, and I'll put the materials for everything else into something else, because I'm not bothered about march speed. And finally, Shield of Eternal Empire. Now, this is the only piece of equipment that I do not already have expertised. If you're in a similar situation where you're just getting your legendary equipment blueprints, I'll be putting those blueprints into these iconic attributes before I expertise it, just because you might need 4 blueprints to get it to be expertise. All you get is an extra, say, 30%. But if you put it into these iconic attributes, you got 100% chance of getting these extra things. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'd put it into the iconic attributes first and then go into expertise, which is more or less what I've done here. But again, I do acknowledge how useful it would be if it was expertise. I just don't have the blueprints. And everybody has to prioritize at some point, and obviously that includes myself. But anyway, yeah, it gives an extra 20% infantry attack, plus iconic attributes, an extra 3% base attack. It ignores the enemy health. Again, that's going to be in your normal damage and also in your skill damage in relation to the enemy. Increases your unit capacity by 800 on the 3rd iconic. On the 4th iconic, we're looking down the left hand side. Damage to troops on the map is increased, just the damage is an extra 2%. Of course, we'll take that, and I can't wait for that. And we finally have the Furious Strike. Whenever the Builder's troop launches a basic attack, it has a 10% chance to gain a 5% damage boost for 2 whole seconds. So as I said, that basic attack is going to be... It's either going to be like literally attack every second, then every other second, or the attack may also include counter attack, which means every second potentially is calculating a 10% chance to give you a 5% damage bonus, again with that 5-second cooldown. So yeah, I would love that. I'd love that, and hopefully they would overlap with the skill damage boost. So it's obviously probability driven, and just never know. But you'd rather have it more so than not. So that's that. That's my infantry, for me, optimal infantry equipment. And listen, I'm obviously aware that it's not going to compare to the Wales of the world, who can get the... Where is it? You know, for example, for the weapon, they can get this from KVK. Probably already gone past it. I'm on the wrong thing, that's why. Yeah, you can get this from the hammer. You can get this hammer from KVK. You look at how many legendary materials you're going to need. Oh no, it's okay. You just need 70. I keep calling it stone, but it's iron. If I say stone, then I mean iron. I just need 70 legendary iron. Gosh, it's just too much. Even this one's 60 is an awful lot, but it's not 70. You know what I mean? So you take your choices. If you're VIP 18, you may well be thinking, you know what? I get one of these for free every 4 days. I can easily get the blueprints without having to spend gems. You know what I mean? You get at least 2 or 3 in the KVK. I got 3 blueprints in the last KVK as a spender. So yeah, maybe you go for the hammer with the sun. Maybe I should go for the hammer with the sun. Nah, but anyway, listen, please like, subscribe. That is Steve, and I'm out.